Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome to the show. My name is Dean. There you go. Lev Remembers. LevRemembers.com is where you can find Mr. Lev Parnas. He's underneath me. So is my very good friend, Mr. Zev Shalev. Narrative.org is where you can find him. And the dog you hear in the background, that's Pepper. She's excited. She's excited because we have royalty getting arrested. We've got more victims to come. And when I say victims, victims of their own pedophilia, we got Howard Lutnick engaged in what appears to be nanny trafficking. Oh my
Nanny
God.
Gates. Nanny Gates.
Yeah, Nanny Gate. And we're here to talk about it all. Some major breaking news. I think we start there. I mean, did you guys wake up to the same news I did that Prince Andrew has been arrested by UK authorities due to new revelations in the Epstein files? Let's start with you, Lev. Thoughts? Fucking bananas.
Uh,
Bananas.
I just want to say God is good. God
Yeah.
is good, and things are moving. Things are moving, and it's thanks to communities like ours, thanks to investigative journalism like Zev's and Ellie's. Thanks to the constant pushing of people like you, Dean. And
Aaron
it's
Parnas.
Aaron, for my son Aaron. I mean, a lot of incredible journalists out there that are doing some. Thanks to keeping it in the news, thanks to constantly keeping the pressure, thanks to putting it on, we're starting to see accountability. We're starting to see accountability. And today, I mean, it was, I got a call. I think it was like 5:30 or something. Like, I don't even know what time. Lately, I don't know what time it is because I'm between Ukraine speaking and between going on here
Yeah.
and things and Trump traveling and sources all over the world. I feel like, my time zones have been all discombobulated. But I'll tell you that it was a big shock because this is a major move, and then also watching the way King Charles responded with
Yeah.
that cold response, saying, "Listen, let it all play
Fuck
out."
that guy. Yeah.
Exactly. And to keep in mind, this is, I think, just the beginning because they got him. This is not, and we'll talk about it. They got him on actual where they're looking into is financial crime. Not, right, Zev? I mean, this is what we've been.
Well,
Misuse of
it's
public office. Yeah.
But
espionage, really.
espionage on their side, but for the benefit of Epstein making money. It was giving him information, right? He was the commerce treasury or whatever, something. He was giving him inside information that
Yeah.
Epstein probably and their internal cabal of others that were using. This is why Epstein was able to. Now we're starting to see why he had the power he had. Because think about it, if you got information coming from the royal family, from the prince sitting on the conference telling you, listen, this is how our policy is going to go, or this is what we're going to do. Think about how Epstein now could, make all of those inner circle
Huge.
people a lot
Yeah.
of money. And that's why we say follow the money, follow the money. That's why Zev's important, such important narrative.org, because, he specializes in following the money. And that's why I love working with him so closely. Me and him, it's like we sometimes finish each other's sentences. He knows these guys. I lived it. He's investigated it. So that's why it's really cool because a lot of the people that he's investigated, I know, and it feels like he knows them himself through all of his investigations.
Some of them I do know, actually, and some of them you provide
absolutely.
good color. So that's
Yeah. So definitely it's been so it's because of you guys. Go ahead. So I'm sorry.
No, I just wanted to say the same thing about your work, but also at the same time, this is so significant. This doesn't happen.
No.
The royal family does not get arrested if the king doesn't want them arrested. In fact, the king
400
is
years.
completely immune from any criminal prosecution at all.
1647 is the last time this happened. King
Yeah.
James the First, and he was beheaded after, by the way. So there's some hope.
And so he's let this happen. He's allowed this to happen, and his family can always be protected. If his family's in the four walls of one of his castles, they will not get arrested. The reason why they've sent Andrew out into the wilderness is to signal that they're not protecting him, that he is arrestable. And now we're seeing that come to light. So it's incredible, the signal that we're getting from King Charles to the world saying it's okay. You can go after people involved with the Epstein files. It has profound impact on what is going to happen in America. And it is much more significant than people give it credibility or credence for, because what we're seeing now is permission from the king. And, we're an independent country and all these other things, but the king still matters. And the king is basically saying, you can do this. You can arrest anyone involved. It also gives him a little bit of exposure, which he must be calculating, because definitely he knows things that he didn't share with people. But I think this is all got to do with Prince William and Kate, who are really
Absolutely.
pushing the king and the royal family in this direction. To say this isn't this is super significant is an understatement. It is a bombshell
It's cataclysmic. You know, like I think that's the best word that I've heard describe this: cataclysmic, unprecedented. To Lev's point, 1647 is the last time this happened, where a royal family member was arrested for anything, charged with anything, and he's being charged with significant fucking crimes. Poor Piers Morgan's out there bawling his eyes out this morning on every major Substack channel he can get himself on. The royal family, I've been doing work for them for 30 years. I can't believe it. I had no idea. He knew. To your point, Charles knew, and now we're down to the plausible deniability portion of it. Just to recap, he was arrested this morning, Prince Andrew, at Norfolk, which is the King's Sandringham estate. There's a lodge there called Norfolk. And to your point, the king had already removed every title from him, so he's no longer His Royal Highness or HRH. He is just Andy, Mountbatten, whatever the fuck. And then he stripped him of all his duties, and then he really stripped him, told him to move out of the family lodge, and said he could stay in the family home. But they went to the king's residence to fucking arrest Andy Mountbatten today. And when we talk about how cataclysmic this is, I can truthfully tell you, hi, Ellie, nice to see you, Joanne, thanks for coming. I can truthfully tell you, coming from a family that was born in England, I was born in England, my family are royal watchers. They were upset when Liz cacked, same thing with when Philip cacked. It is not just unprecedented, it has the entire island of England either cheering or shaking their fists. This is unfucking believable what they've done. And Virginia Giuffre did this from the fucking grave.
Yeah,
She reached
her
into
family.
Buckingham Palace and her family, and they yanked this.
brother. And
Oh,
he's
yes.
been, yeah,
Yeah.
he's been, you know, that truly is the fact. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go, but
No, just to give you some short strokes, I want to read what King Charles said. This is the fuck all y'all statement from His Majesty the King. I have learned with the deepest concern about Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. Didn't say my brother. Didn't say former Prince Andrew. Right? So he skews him off the front. And suspicion of misconduct in public office, what now follows is the full, fair, and proper, transparent process by which issue is investigated in the appropriate manner by the appropriate authorities. In this, as I've said before, they have our full and wholehearted support and cooperation. Let me state this clearly. The law must take its course. As this process continues, it would not be right for me to comment further on this matter. Meanwhile, my family and I will continue in our duty and service to you, Charles R. And I want to ask you guys, and I don't care who starts or who talks about it, this isn't just stemming from pictures that were recently released of Andrew like laying over top of what appears to be a passed out 14-year-old. This is him transferring state secrets, trade secrets, and documents. Zev, what do you know and what are you hearing?
Yeah, the actual charge is something about misconduct in public office or something like that, which is, you know, exactly what he's alleged to have done. And it all ties in to what Peter Mandelson is also being investigated for currently. So basically, this is a senior government official. He was in that job as a trade chairman, I think, or trade ambassador or something like that was Andrew's position.
Trade envoy for the UK.
Trade envoy, thank you, yeah. And so it's a senior government official, and what he was doing was passing classified trade intelligence and some war zone investment data, which is, of course, highly problematic, to Jeffrey Epstein, a convicted sex offender, an espionage operator, a spy, a man with all sorts of different agendas, including ties to the mob and other people. That, you know, it's much more than just the fact that he provided an underage girl to the former prince. What he's really, this is much more about the handover of these. These were international trade and investment analyses that were confidential, and Andrew forwarded them to Jeffrey Epstein while he was on his official tour of these countries of Singapore, Hong Kong, and Vietnam. So while this stuff was being handed to him by his own assistant, he was distributing them immediately to someone who was a known agent of Russia, a known agent of Israel.
Here's the key. Yeah, no,
and that's a real challenge. I mean, that is about as close to treason as you can get, I think,
Lev?
Without saying the word treason.
Yeah,
Lev? Somebody that's also been arrested on espionage. You know, I could tell you, Prince Andrew's in the deep shit.
Yeah.
You know, the only difference is I actually wasn't involved in the SPS thing, but he definitely was. Look, the incredible part, and that we could have a little joy here right now, and having a little, because yes, first of all, for the family of Virginia Giuffre, for her, may she rest in peace, for her soul, getting this, because this is a personally, out of all of the survivors, Prince, I apologize, I almost said Andrew, whatever you want to call him, he was literally I guess her major abuser. He was the one that literally, one of the biggest names she came out against, and kept the picture, and we remember, and how he denied it. Just think about the torment he put her through. By him denying it, by all of the attacks on her family, and to get her. So I just want to say this is a tremendous, tremendous win for her family, for her brother, and her sister-in-law. I mean, I see them all the time. I saw them in Washington D.C. when we were there in the courtroom, and I just want to tell you, you see the pain in them, that they're constantly fighting, and in her face, for every Epstein survivor, this is just the beginning, because what this has opened up, this is a bigger can of worms. First of all, Ellie's doing some incredible follow-up and work right now, having to do with Fergie. And Fergie, his wife, let's understand, Andrew's wife, Fergie, we're starting to find out, has had extreme relationships with Epstein, to the point where she's even brought the twins, the two daughters, to a lot of places. And Ellie's digging into a lot of that stuff, and we're going to get some more information about that, about what Fergie was up to. But taking it to the serious side is what today's arrest and what the fallout could be, because I don't know Andrew. I don't know if he's going to sing what the cover up will look like, because again, we're still dealing with the royal family. We're still dealing with some, we still need answers. But I think the links it showed that if a monarchy could do that. That there's 400 years ago was the last time they did. If Congress, I'm sorry, if the king allowed that to happen, and they're in the UK, they are being right now having his own family member, his own brother. Forget about the even royalty. His own brother is allowing him to stand literally in the face of justice. What that should do, and what we should all do, and we should take that and use that, and the media, every single individual, mega, and this community, and we should force President Trump to do the same exact thing, to open up all the files, let control of everything, unredact all of the stuff, let us get full access, even if it is Howard Lutnick, somebody close to you, even if it is, maybe Melania, and her name is going to get dirty, because it's not just about one or two individuals. It's about getting to the bottom line, about all of the corruption that has been going on, because this is just the beginning of the can of worms.
So it's so important what you're saying, because there has been this understanding that certain things are untouchable, that certain people are untouchable. That is, as of today, no longer the case. Now we know that even Prince Andrew is touchable, even the royal family is touchable. That leaves the playing field open for everybody else.
Everybody.
And certainly Donald Trump is a big friend of Charles, and a close. They had a great state dinner just a few weeks ago. There was unbelievably honoring of President Trump. So even he understands how important the signal is that he's getting, that even he is not untouchable. Because if Andrew can go, so can Donald Trump, so can Lutnick. And I'm glad you mentioned Lutnick, because Lutnick was a sponsor of Fergie's charity. He gave her offices upstairs.
Come
And
down, open the door.
And those were no worries. And those were and those charities were, with Ghislaine Maxwell was managing the money. It's understood that a lot of stuff was fraudulent, and some of the money flowed out of that charity right into the pockets of Fergie and perhaps Epstein, perhaps Lutnick, who knows. And they're also throwing these Dolce Vita parties, according to one FBI document, where they were, raising money for charity that didn't go to charity. And this was all under the auspices of Lutnick. It was under his Cantor Fitzgerald's offices that Fergie had her offices. So all of that, at least Lutnick needs to be looked at in great detail with all this new information we're getting with FBI and his connections to the royal family, his connections to Fergie and Andrew. That's very significant and deserves a big follow-up.
So here's what I would ask you too, Lev, and maybe you could chime in on this because I find this to be a watershed moment. I mean, we've had several of them, but that barrier that is certainly protecting the Trump regime, which is his inability to be accountable for fucking anything, that is now gone in the UK, and this is the fucking royal family. It's not some wanna hump reality television star who shits his pants and his buddy Keith Schiller wipes him clean. This is the fucking royal family. I mean, there's a pewter shine to these people that nobody has ever been able to pierce, right? And for King Charles to have the foresight, and I think you're right from all the reports that I'm currently now reading, is that William and Kate basically told King Charles, they're like, you clean this shit up before you die. Like this is your goal. This is what you have to do. And they knew, and King Charles knew that if he removed that designation from Prince Andrew, that he was fair game, and that has now happened. So when we look at what's going to come from this investigation, knowing it is centered in the United States, and Lev, I'd be interested to 36 members of his cabinet are in the Epstein files. Not only that, his broligarchy is all over the Epstein files. Not only that, he's mentioned 1,000,000 times in the fucking Epstein files. So, your thoughts on how this is going over with MAGA today?
Oh well, it's interesting you say because there's a different reaction that's going on with Mega and a different reaction what's going on in the White House. Obviously, the people that are involved. So let's talk about Mega. Mega is all over. I mean, everybody except for your Laura Loomers of the world, except for your like diehard excuse masters for Trump. Majority of Mega is up at arms. They are, if Andrew could go down, we need more accountability. We need Trump to release. But the interesting part, and I still keep seeing it, where the buffer is still happening. The attacks are coming more to Pam Bondi. The attacks are still are going towards Bondi. Yes, they've pierced through it. Everybody, you see people coming out and going into Trump. But if you see the conversations, they always are switching to Bondi. How Bondi is, embarrassing him. How Bondi did not respond. How Bondi messed up by announcing she had the files on her. How Bondi is not handling the investigation properly. How the PR is not being done. I mean, it's excuse after excuse after excuse. But with that said, the pressure is tremendous. And this is the one thing, and I keep saying about it, the one thing, and as crazy as it sounds, and it should, because, that's the one, I mean, at least it's showing that even the diehard mega far right, even the far left, even all these radical extremists, it shows you even they have humanity and heart, that they could agree that pedophiles should be held accountable, and that people that have hurt children or kids or little girls or boys should be held accountable. And that's the one thing that unites us all on that, and that's why we need to keep the pedal to the metal and keep the pressure on. Every day, every single day, we have more and more information. Just think about just the past several days. We've had uncovered information literally about Lutnick that Zev has been breaking every day. We went from, think about, and literally 3-4 days, I just want you to understand, folks, 3-4 days, we went from Howard Lutnick having an interview where basically he's saying that he's never been to Epstein Island, doesn't know the guy, massage table, this whole shebang. And then literally within a week, every day, now we went from him, now we know he's been on the island. We know now he hasn't even had lunch on the island. He's now had dinner on the island.
With
We
nannies.
know with nannies. We know that he made sure to say that he left with all the nannies. We all said we were all speaking about that. This is how sick these people are. How they put
Weird choice of words. Yeah.
Right. You know, we would even do their lives and we would be like, why is he saying I left with all the kids and the nannies? Like, why would you say that? Like, I had nannies. I would never say I made sure I took my nannies with me.
Yeah, I'd say something like we all left and just assume that they would include everybody in my party. I wouldn't go out of my way to go, by the way, the kids whose height, age, and names I gave Jeffrey Epstein before I went there, and the nannies and all their CVs that I gave to Jeffrey Epstein before I went there, they all came back with me.
And then what happened? All of a sudden, yesterday, we have a dump basically saying where Epstein was planning on and Epstein wanted one of the nannies, and Lutnick was happy to oblige. He was, they were basically, discussing who knows how old this nanny is, who knows where she comes from, who knows, it'd be interesting to see, ask Howard Lutnick, who is this nanny? Can we speak to this nanny that was on there? I would like to speak to this nanny and say, how were you being hit on? What did you see? What did you feel? And what happened afterwards? And did you ever actually end up on Epstein's Island back? Whatever happened to that?
Yeah.
Because we've seen the little bits, but what was the follow-up that we're not seeing? But that's
Absolutely.
only the tip.
Great
But that's only the tip of the iceberg because it keeps going. Because then Zev has been doing his incredible work and starts seeing that what we're seeing with Lutnick is not the pedophilia, not the sexual trafficking, but what Lutnick has been covering up is his and again,
a dump truck of fucking fraud. Yeah.
Yeah. Money laundering, Russian mafia.
Financial crimes dating back all the way to the 90s.
Yeah.
And some despicable stuff that's been done and accused and whistleblowers and they're seeing they have been talking about how he's been using after the 9/11 fund, how he's busy, Zev uncovered that yesterday. We spoke about, broke that news, how he literally put a fund together, folks, where he would have his employees on the day of 9/11 not get paid and use that money as goes towards the fund. But the crazy part is that money went to him. And that's
a lot of it, most of it.
Most of it went to. Just think about, I come to work and say, I got 10,000 employees. You guys are not. You're gonna donate your money today for the 9/11 fund, where a lot of your friends, relatives, compadres. Because remember, Cantor Fitzgerald lost probably the most amount of people during 9/11.
650 or something. Yeah,
650 people.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying to you. So and now we're starting to see even more. We're starting to see his connections to the Russian organized crime families. We're starting to see his involvement in some of these, going back to some of these deals that were still around and they're still being towards, and how these connections are starting to weave farther, more Russia, more this, and it's just getting farther and farther. And that's what I'm saying to you. And that's why we got that petition out there, folks. I'm sorry, quickly. If you haven't signed that petition, folks, sign that petition.
Sign it.
We have 30,000 already. We need to, let's get to 50,000, and we're going to hand it to them on the 24th. We're going, by the way, quick announcement, on February 24th is the State of the Union address. There's going to be a major event to respond to it that's happening. It's called Swamp, I think, Swamp People, Swamp event, held by Defiance.org. A lot of incredible people like Steve Schmidt's going to be there. I'm going to be there. A whole bunch of, the list goes on, but it's going to be a response to him. So there's going to be a lot of interesting news coming out by then. So there's a lot of things happening, folks. Stay tuned. But this is just the beginning.
So here's a question. Hang on real quick, Zev. I got a question for you. And I posed this because I asked Lev, I'm like, what's going on in the Oval Office today? They got to be shitting their pants a little more than they normally shit their pants. You've done the Venn diagram of everybody that's connected to Epstein, Donald Trump, Prince Andrew is, if he's not a co-conspirator, he's their number one fucking client. He's now been arrested. What does this stand to do in terms of a cascading effect here in the United States, specifically for the regime? Yeah, tell me about that.
It's huge. Look, the royal family has a lot of intersections with the Epstein. It's not just Andrew. There's their interactions. There's the financial crime interactions, which we speak about the liquid funding and Epstein's other clientele included some royal clientele. We're not saying it was the Queen, but it could have been the Queen, amongst others. So this financial piece of it can entangle the royal family in a bunch of different ways. The other name that no one ever likes to speak because everyone's terrified of saying it is the Rothschild name. This is a name that pops up time and time again in the Epstein diagram. I mean, it just is. We saw Wexner refer to Rothschild yesterday. We see the name pop up with Jeffrey Epstein directly. We see the most emails between him and Rothschild is the highest number of emails, or one of the highest, I think, from a business perspective, was the Rothschilds. So the Rothschilds play a special role in the world of royalty. They're sort of an allied family to the royal family. They may not see eye to eye all the time, but it's interesting that they are the ones who are come up a lot in this particular diagram. And the Rothschilds represent a huge business interest, huge money interest around the world. They're a very well known old banking family, and and that is probably one of the biggest signals in the White House that they're going to be getting today. Is if the king is saying it's okay to go after Epstein, he's actually saying it's okay to go after Rothschild. It's okay to go after everybody. There's no sacred cows here that we can't sacrifice. Everything is on the table.
Huge.
And that includes the Rothschilds, I think. And that will shatter everything. I mean, for the GOP has been standing, even like no GOP Congress people showed up yesterday at the
Wexner hearing. Yeah.
Yeah, that is an appalling, just so disrespectful to the victims, so disrespectful to everybody who's been fighting so hard to get the truth out, so disrespectful to the American people who voted, who forced this huge vote on the Transparency Act. So to now see, and they will be reading the signal very clearly, that even the most untouchable of untouchables, the Rothschilds, really, when you think about it, they might not be so untouchable after all. Because if Andrew can go down, I'm telling you, it's game on for everybody. Now, it doesn't mean they'll all go down without a fight, but it does mean that the United States has a duty and a responsibility to follow the law. If they're doing it in the UK, it's not like we can turn a blind eye to it. It's just we can't. It would be the end of any legitimacy that this regime has, and it's already losing so many.
Yeah, great point. Sorry, Lev, go ahead.
Yeah, no, first I want to just read something Ellie just put out there. This is a conversation between Andrew, just to give you an understanding, some of this, Andrew and Maxwell. And this is from the files. So, thought you would like to see what I sent. Have a great time. This is Maxwell. I just sent Andrew your telephone. Oh, this is okay. So Maxwell is sending this to Jeff Bezos. Interesting.
Oh, interesting. His name doesn't come up.
Well, is a BESOS? That's Bezos, right?
That's BEZSOS?
No, BSOS. Maybe it's not Bezos. Maybe it's somebody else. Okay, I apologize. Yeah. We want to be correct here. I just gave Andrew your telephone number. He is interested in seeing the NASA lines. He can ride, but it's not his favorite sport. Some sightseeing, some two-legged sightseeing. Read intelligent, pretty fun, and from good families. Two-legged sightseeing, and he will be very happy. I know I can rely on you to show him a wonderful time, and that you will only introduce him to friends that you can trust and rely on to be friendly and discreet and fun. He does want to read about any trip. So these are, I mean, two-legged.
This is Andrew. This is who's sending this? This is to Andrew? Oh, it's from Andrew.
This is Ellie just posted this actually. Ellie, are you in here? You want to say it's between Maxwell and Andrew?
Yeah.
It's between Maxwell and Andrew.
Two-legged sightseeing and discreetness in sightseeing is one of those code phrases that they have when they talk about it. Yeah.
You know what's interesting that I always talk about is what you're not hearing and what you're not seeing, and we're seeing all of these in the files of and we're making a lot of connections, but we're not seeing names like Abramovich. We're not seeing names like Rabinovich. We're not seeing names like Dmitry Firtash. We're not seeing people that in those days that some of these people own most of London property. Most
Yeah.
of the have infiltrated them. So these are Russian oligarchy that through the 90s and 2000s have infiltrated and into the not only into the UK financial industries, their parliament. I mean, they're heavily involved, for buying their soccer teams, buying some of the most prestigious real estate properties, and so on and so on and so on.
Yeah, it's shocked I haven't seen Abramovich's name in there either.
And
right?
that's what I'm saying to you. And because we know the connections, we're starting to see that all of these people ran in the same circle. And if you're seeing, the names of some of these ambassadors to Russia, and these are the same time frames where, if you remember, Putin unleashed his oligarchy. This was the middle to late 90s when Putin basically unloaded Abramovich and Rabinovich and the Firtashes of the world into basically the world. And UK was a tremendous. Now UK was their main thing, which they like, and that's why I even remember when Firtash was, they were trying to extradite him to the United States. One of his in the beginning, he thought that the UK would stop all of this happening because of all the money that they have put in there. I mean, billions and billions of dollars.
That's so interesting because what that really connects to is sort of the Isle of Jersey and or Guernsey's the other one. But there's these two British islands that are protectorates of the Crown. They're not even part of the UK. They are owned directly by the Crown, and they're sort of these tax-free zones for a lot of money laundering. And the Russians, including Abramovich and those other names you mentioned, did a lot of that through these islands with the full awareness of the Queen and the royal family, because they get 10% of everything that goes through there. It's one of the big revenue generators for the royal family.
Is that Isle of Man?
Jersey. It's not the Isle of Man. It's Jersey. Jersey. He's one of them.
Okay.
There's another one, and the other name that shows up a lot there is
what Isle of Man show. Does Isle of Man show up? Because I remember that was back in the 90s. A lot of we used to use that as an offshore
it's a bunch
haven.
of little islands. Maybe they are.
Isle of Man is an offshore
connected.
haven for that was primarily used Bermuda. It was an offshore haven for money laundering, basically.
Yeah.
That's where
Still is.
Still is.
So these are off the British. This is off the British coast, and they have they make a lot of money out of that. And,
the Isle of Man and the other island you're speaking of, Jersey, they are as Lev points out, and thank you, because I'm British, born there, love my heritage, although a little embarrassed about the whole creation of slavery bullshit. However, I do understand the history of the Isle of Man and some of the tax-free zones that they've got in England, that the royal family literally plays in those islands. That's where they keep all of their personal money, and they do it with all of their friends. So I can guarantee you that Jeffrey Epstein in some capacity has affected bank accounts on that island on behalf of or at the blessing of the royal family, to your point, because they get a cut of everything that goes through these tax-free zones.
Mm-hmm.
Well, also, majority of all the Russian oligarchy, especially in the beginning, that's where they put all their money. Isle of Man was the main source. Before, I mean, you got Cyprus, then you had others, and Bermuda, and then others that started transporting, and Bahamas and others that had different type of regulatory issue. Panama, but Isle of Man was the original.
Right. Absolutely,
that was
makes
the original.
sense.
And that's why
also child trafficking through there, by the way, interestingly enough, because also these are they're run by emissaries of the Queen or the King, or they don't have a government in the way that you'd expect as a protectorate of the British Empire. They're sort of directly controlled by the Crown. It's very it's a big area of concern for many people to watch this kind of stuff, because that's where a lot of money laundering goes through. And there is also the connection to Jeffrey Epstein through there, because there's the Appleby firm. If you remember, that firm came up during the Panama Papers as the repository of all these offshore holdings that was released.
Owner of the outstanding restaurant chain, Applebee's? The Appleby thing?
Different. Okay. These are offshore registry places where you wanted to
hell of a salad bar at Applebee's. Yeah. Anyway,
like the salad bar. This is not about the salad, but you could get your side order of it.
I hope they remain untouched. I'm a big fan of Applebee's.
So Epstein used that to register a lot of these things, and and that was also headquartered there. So, and connected to connects Epstein to the royal family and all sorts of other Russian oligarchs as well. But you're right, Lev. We've not seen any of this come out yet in the Epstein files. So there's a whole bunch of it. It's still buried.
Yeah, and
That's kind of the incredible part too, Lev. Right? Like you think about you made a great point earlier. You're like, hey, well, one day Howard Lutnick was never on the island. The next day he went there for lunch. The next day, not only did he go for the lunch, he went there with his children and he named them all and gave their heights and weights. And same thing with his nannies. It's just like we're at the precipice of this. Like what the UK police must fucking know, and that information that they're probably sharing with other countries who've been inundated with complaints about Epstein,
Good point.
lost victims and stuff like that. This is going to spread, right, Lev? Like it's impossible to think that the UK government, Scotland Yard, isn't going to, or Europol, or the French government, or the Irish government. It's impossible to think that they're not on this already.
Well, I'll put it to you this way. It's one of two things. And I'm going to be, I always tell you bluntly how, because of me living in that world and I know how things happen. And, optimistic, I'll give you the two loves. The love that lived in that world, what I really think is going to happen, I think is they're going to shut it down. I think they're going to give a little bait. They're going to maybe throw Andrew to the wolves. And I think they're going to try to maintain it. And they're going to I don't think they're going to try to allow it to spread. I don't think that they're going to do it. It might spread because of our messages. And that's what we hope. But I think it's going to be part of continuing to do a cover up, because I think this is a lot bigger than just Andrew. I think, this is a lot bigger than one person or one individual. I think there's, like I said, the connections and that is going to tie them over the past 30 some odd years that's been tied into the Russian organized crime, the Kremlin, Russia. I mean, we could spend probably days. Me and Zev will explain to you about what they own there, how they got there, the different level of, and how they, from their own KGB agents living in there, the assassinations that they do. And it's like UK is very, 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 and unless you're gonna, one of two things is gonna happen. The optimistic side is obviously, I hope that they do the right thing and start announcing some of the names, the connections. And I think once you start, if that happens, you're gonna see the real chain of events is connecting how over the past 30 years this Epstein circle of individuals, including people like Howard Lutnick, people like Donald Trump, people like Andrew and others, that were dealing with such powerful financial crime manipulation that had effects on world economics and so many people financially, that the perversion and the disgusting things we see, I don't think it will. I think like the people like Epstein, my opinion from what I'm hearing, what I'm seeing, what I'm doing, yes, there was a child trafficking ring. Yes, it was run by people like Epstein, Maxwell, on different reasons. But I think they were using it also like people like Andrews and others that were going there because, yes, they were really the financial target. They were the real information target.
Yeah.
But they were perverted, and they were able to use that perversion to keep them into that little clique. And because it's like that, like a guy like Andrew, dealing with billionaires, if you feel comfortable, once they feel comfortable that they could trust you, because they are so they're so sheltered. These guys, all of these billionaires, powerful people, you can't get to them. They have all of these different levels, and they're so sheltered. And but they're also people, and some of them, because of that, they can't let it out. They don't know how. Like a regular person can't just go to a bar and just grab a drink and meet somebody, because if you're so famous, like just think about it, you can't do these things. And Club Epstein, as I call it, would allow them to be like themselves. And once they let the guard down, then it's like they're like kids in the candy store. They give you information. They want to be, because they feel they have their little clique that they don't want to lose. That's their where they could be that perverted person, where he could say, "Oh, yeah, we're going to come talk to you about the money. But by the way, is there going to be a two-legged sightseeing tour while I'm there?" Yeah, great. Okay, let's do it. You know what I'm saying to you.
Yeah.
Mr. Deal on the side.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. What great point. Yeah.
Really, really good point. I'm a little bit more optimistic about what's happening here, and I would have agreed with you even as early as yesterday, as recently as yesterday, that this is a 50-50 shot at what may happen here. But I think this tone is being set out of Prince William and Kate, and I think it's a very serious sea change in the
Yeah,
world. That
I
this is
hope.
not
Yeah.
the king is on his way out. He's not young. He's maybe got a couple of years left. Who knows? And this is really Prince William's court. And you might wonder, well, what's this got to do with the United States, who's supposedly an independent country? Well, don't kid yourself. Everyone respects what the king and the royal families have to say and do.
Especially fucking Trump, dude. If you remember correctly, you remember when he went to Buckingham Palace this last year and he was wearing all the gear, including I go back to the diaper. Anyway,
Yeah.
he's wearing all the gear and he's like, "This is the greatest honor of my lifetime. This is the greatest thing that's ever happened to me."
He loves
And
it. He loves
if
it.
you know anything about
And I love him.
Trump, he is the ultimate jock sniffer, right? Like it's Lev. You know that. You know that he cozies up to real power. He sniffs the jock of elites. It's what he does. He fucking loves it. And when he was asked on his way back about Andy, who was not at that dinner, like, "Yeah, what do you know about Andy? He just had to pay out Virginia Giuffre." And he's like, "It's a shame what's happening to the royal family. It's
Yep.
a shame what's going on to the royal family because he considers them to be his friends. He considers them to be untouchable." And
He thinks of them as their boss, as his boss.
yeah,
I mean, he
yeah.
really thinks he's going to be the king of America based on their,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
blessing him.
Well, this
I don't
is
think
why
that's
I'm
happening.
this is why I'm concerned for their concern in a good way. This is the hopeful part of me because I love a good piece of Schadenfreude. You know that.
Yeah.
Is he's probably shitting his pants. And on top of him shitting his pants, I got to wonder if the king's visit for the 250th anniversary of the United States might be off at this point, right? I mean, that's a big deal. If he's hanging his brother out to dry when it comes to the Epstein files, and you would think King Charles is in the know, you got to wonder if maybe there's going to be some serious distance put between himself and Trump and how that whole fucking thing plays out.
Well, that's such an important point. What really needs to, I'll just, if I can, just a second here.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is really important that people keep this pressure up.
Yeah.
We need America to start investigating.
This is what we needed.
The Epstein files in a very serious way. We can't, if the Prince Andrew can go, then everybody needs to be investigated. There's no one who's above the law, and we need to push this. Every congressman needs to be called today. Every single person you can think of who might be, in the DOJ or any even state senators or anything. Just this is the message that everyone needs to be hearing: is that no one is above the law, and everyone needs to be investigated who was involved in the Epstein network. And that must include the President of the United States. It must include Howard Lutnick. It must include every other member of the cabinet or the GOP who in any way benefited from or was connected to Jeffrey Epstein and his network. It's clear that this has been a crime spree that has been underway for 4 decades, that has not been investigated, has many victims, both sexual victims and otherwise. And the American people have suffered and the world has suffered because of this espionage and criminal outfit, and they need to be stopped and they need to be brought down.
Lev?
Well, very, very, very well said, Zev. And I just want to really compliment you and agree with you on something you said because you said something very important. I think that's the key to what we need here in the United States also. Because when I made my comment, I was making my comment off of thinking how the old regime, what would King Charles do? And because what are these people doing? And that's how they would do it. They would probably throw somebody under the bus, but try to save the name of the monarchy and everything. But you mentioned Prince William and you mentioned Kate. And I think that is the important part. I think they are and I agree with you 100%. I think they are the leading because they're next. They're next for the throne. They're putting the pressure behind the scenes and they want to go in there with clean transparency and they want to be able to do it. And I think that's a great example for what needs to happen here in the United States. We need fresh blood. We need to get all of these, excuse me, term limit, however you want to call them, people that are in there for 40, 50, 30 years. It doesn't matter. You like them, you don't like them, they need to go. Because what happens is, folks, the way corruption gets built, and I could tell you, somebody that's been around corruption my whole life, it becomes over time. You know, people that come in there, they could be the greatest, but when you're in somewhere for 30, 40 years, and you tend to start, very difficult to be against everybody. You have to make deals to keep going. And if you take a look at all of their history, from Joe Biden to Barack Obama to Reagan to any of them, they say something one time, and all of a sudden, 20, 30 years, when when times change, everything changes. Now all of a sudden they want a totally different thing. You know what I'm saying to you? So all of these people have deals that they've made between themselves. So because they're in so long, that's why you can't have true accountability. That's why we need new, fresh blood that don't have no loyalty to nobody but the people, to their constituents, that will come in there and say, listen, yes, I don't care if if Clinton or if it's Trump, because I don't have any loyalty to Clinton, Trump. But think about how many senators or congressmen that might have loyalty to Clinton or Trump, because over the years, one was president, one was senator, Trump has been president twice. All of these loyalties have to stop. We need fresh blood. And that's why I agree with you. I think it's an important point where that the push is not coming so much from Charles. Charles is doing it, but the push is really coming from Prince William and Kate and Kate. And
this is actually, I mean, this is not imagined stuff either. This was a part of a big showdown that happened a few months ago, where before Prince Andrew was sent off into the wilderness, there was a showdown between King Charles and his son. And Prince William was like, you're not inviting him to Christmas, and he's not going to stay part of this family in the way he's been. And it's time for this monarchy to change. And at that moment, your royal onlookers have said, the king actually at that moment was no longer the king. The crown actually, in effect, passed down to William, because Charles gave in to William on that demand. And so we're seeing a real sea change, and people might think it's just monarchy and what are they don't have any real say, but they have an enormous influence on every aspect of life.
Absolutely.
That royal network has been around for longer than any other network in the world, since the dawn of man, really. We've had chiefs and kings and you name it, and they maintain power through soft means and through direct means, but they're very powerful, very wealthy, and they have a lot of influence. I would put this into a William thing in a big way.
Yeah, I would too. And not a moment too soon. I think, if you're taking anything away from this conversation today with my friend Lev Parnas at Lev Remembers, give him a follow, hit that Chiron at the top. You'll automatically subscribe to all three of us, including my friend Zev Shalev. He's at narrative.org here on Substack. I think one of the things that I took away from this was it's like the sky sort of opened up for a lot of people that have been staying on this, whether you're part of the wolf pack or you got your own wolf pack, or you've been trying to get transparency for some of these victims, and you've been trying to tell the truth, and you've been advocating for the victims, whether you're Lev and you're literally showing up to Pam Bondi's hearing with the victims, for the victims. If I'm the victims today and I see that this belt notch of Prince Andrew, who's been arrested and for very fucking serious crimes in the United Kingdom that are stemming from the latest release from these Epstein files, and we only have 2 to 4% according to best estimates of the rest of the Epstein files. If I'm you, if you're MAGA and you're looking for the same thing, if you're progressive and you're looking for the same thing, you're conservative, liberal, doesn't matter. You're looking for justice. And this is just that incredible opportunity. It's like a window has opened up to get that justice for those victims and to free the United States from the bonds of what ails it right now, which is the people that are covering up the Epstein files and preventing transparency and accountability in the United States of America. That is why this is so fucking important, if I'm not mistaken. And I think that that's the through line everybody here needs to be taking. Give you guys a couple of last words, and then we'll let you split. I know Zev's got to go get a haircut and a manicure, and I know Lev has to do the same thing. Maybe he's getting, is it petty day today? You getting a pedicure today?
I'm actually going to get a mani-pedi.
Attaboy.
Lev has got a mani-pedi schedule. That's really good.
I don't mind.
Hey, I wouldn't judge it. I don't judge it.
I'm there all the time. I love a good mani-pedi. Yeah.
Are you kidding me? With a little reflexology, with a little
little reflex, and they rub your calves and your Achilles, and it's
well, most people don't know that a lot of that goes through our body, goes through our feet. you know, and that's
Absolutely.
why reflexology is very important. Like, you know, so Asian, that's an Asian friend of mine that taught me once, and I've been doing it a long time. So there's a lot of that. So no,
You've inspired me. I might do one. I might get one today now.
absolutely. No,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Treat
You
day.
know, let your, you know, Zev, I want you to let your hair down today. I want you,
What's that?
I want you just to let it go and relax. You
My
know
hair
what I'm
down.
saying to you?
Yeah.
In
You've
honor
been
of Prince
working so,
Andrew.
yeah, you've been
Yeah.
working so hard. But folks, yeah, no, listen, I'm glad we're able to have a little joy, but at the same time, this is an extremely serious matter,
Mhm.
you know, and this is an extremely happy time because we're starting to see accountability, you know, and accountability is so important for all of the survivors, for all of the victims, for Virginia Giuffre, for her, you know, soul, may she rest in peace, and for all of us as Americans, for all of us Canadians, for all of us all over the world, because we are, it is owed to us because this is a worldwide conspiracy. These are people from all over. This is not just an American problem. This is not just a UK problem. This is not just a here. This is a world problem. This is the biggest cover up and the biggest
Ever.
that in world history, I think, and that's why
Yeah.
right now what we're seeing, the fact that we're seeing a coalition, because usually a lot of and this is why, like Zev said, this is so important because usually these countries cover this shit up.
Mhm.
Usually they don't want, you know, the royal family does not allow type of this stuff to go out. Like, listen, last time 400 years, think about 400 years till something like this happened where they even allowed something like happen. Things in, you know, in other countries that are coming out, they cover it up. Don't, there's accountability everywhere except here in the United States, folks. And that
Yeah, well
that is
said.
and that is the biggest point where we need to say enough is enough. I wear this shirt every single day proudly because enough is enough. We need to like Zev said, right now when you get off of here, make your calls. Call every congressman, call the DOJ, call people. Keep putting pressure on. Let our voices be heard because that's the number one thing that we have, the strength of the people. There's over 300 million Americans out here. If we just flood the phones and call, believe me when I tell you, that is more powerful than everybody taking a gun and walking into the street.
Huge. Yeah.
That your voices are more stronger than any physical action. So that's why I say to you, and I know, and you know what? The hardest part is thinking to yourself and say, does my one voice really matter? It does. It does. Trust me. Just like your $1 matters, just like your one email letters, because you don't know which voice will. Because as the saying goes, the straw that breaks the camel's back. And that
Yeah.
you don't know what voice that will be. Will it be your voice? Will it be Zev's voice? Will it be somebody out there in Oklahoma or somewhere in Australia or what? That's why you need to keep doing what you're doing. Sometimes it feels like we feel hopeless and think it's not working. Trust me, it's working because you're seeing the results, and you
Oh yeah,
know
for sure.
you're seeing it all over the world, and we're gonna start seeing it here because you know they can run, but they cannot hide because justice is coming for them. You know, like that song goes, "Bad boys, what you gonna do?
Caught
What you
seems
gonna
to
do? Well, we come
come
for
to
you."
you, bad
And
boys,
Wow.
bad
So
boys.
he's very chill today.
Yeah, he is.
Lev, you're so right, and Teen, you're so right about all this stuff. You know what we've got is an opportunity here, and we've seen it working. There's a reason Andrew is in jail right now is because of the pressure that people have been putting out there publicly and forcing their representatives not to turn away and keeping the pressure up on the Epstein files. It's the only reason this hasn't been buried. Donald Trump has tried again and again to shut this down. Every other week he's let's move on, let's move on. No one's moving on, Donald Trump. No one at the world is moving on. Everyone is sitting right here in this position waiting for you to be accountable for the things that you've done and the network that you've been associated with. And this move by to arrest Andrew is so significant because it sends shockwaves through the entire network. They all know that. They all know that the reason Andrew was first
Well,
compromised
in that group,
by
he
this
was the
network.
most untouchable out of all of them, right?
So they knew that by compromising him, they had the biggest security, the most insurance. Guess what? Even he went down. And if he goes down, the entire network. And do you think he's not going to sing? I mean, if he wants to, I mean, he probably
Oh,
won't
he's
for
a
any
soft
reason.
boy. He's a soft
Yeah.
boy. Listen, you know, it's a very different set of circumstances with a guy who's been hustling for 40 years in Lev Parnas goes to prison and a guy like Soft Andy, right? Like
He's
soft
in a
Andy
prison
is
cell
not,
with a toilet and a bed right now. You know, that's the environment he's in for at least 24 hours.
Yeah, Lev has
I
slept
mean,
in some strange situations growing up. He probably walked in there's like, I've done this before, but Andy has never seen the fucking inside of a jail cell and grew up with that attitude that he never will. He grew up with people giving him manis and petties in his sleep, people bringing him his favorite granola and 3 different kinds of fucking marmalade every single morning. This is a guy who's got Egyptian cotton and billion count thread sheets that gets ferried to and from everywhere. For him to lose what he has lost, that's one thing. For him to be treated like a commoner now, who just committed a crime, that Andy's not going to do great in prison. Let's just point that out, Lev.
Yeah, I mean, he'll be out in a day, but you know, he's got serious charges he's facing. He could face, you know, a lifetime in prison. I mean, he probably won't. He probably get out of the slap on the wrist, but still, there's the fact that he's even going through the motions here. I mean, the Queen would be turning in her grave right now, thinking that her favorite son is behind bars for the Epstein affair. I mean, that's just wow, that's huge news. And you know, and Lev, what you guys have been doing, and Dean, what you're doing in terms of pushing the story, making sure everyone stays focused on it, and it's really been tremendous what you've done, because it's kept the energy of everyone, and it's kept the movement going, and it's kept the focus on this. And I don't think it's something it's now got a life of its own. I just don't think it's something they can kill. It's gonna go through till its conclusion.
It's hard to move on when the prince gets arrested.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And he's the first like actual pedophile who's been arrested.
Yeah,
Like there's a lot of
right.
people associated, but he's the
Exactly.
first child abuser other than Ghislaine and Jeffrey that have gone down.
Lev?
And the interesting part is he hasn't been arrested for pedophilia, but that's why I wanted to say that I think that if we keep pushing him, keep uncovering all the stuff, because you know, it's like a holding charge. They're they could supersede you once you know. Right now, he's being looked at, you know, espionage. You know, he's being looked at, you know, those type of crimes. But as this more information comes out, I think again, we're hoping with the push that's going to come out. I just wanted to do a quick announcement before I forget, because really interesting interview today coming up. I think it's at 3:00 or 3:30. I'm not sure what time. I apologize at the same time as you guys. I think you guys have the live stack. I didn't schedule it.
No, that's okay. We might just watch yours and count this as the 5 stack today, because you told Zeb to go get a manicure. Yeah.
It's something really interesting. Ivo Dalder. I don't know if you know who Ivo Dalder is. He's the president of the Chicago Council of Global Affairs. He served under Obama from 2009 to 2013 for the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. He was a member of the staff of the United Nations Security Council during the administration of Clinton also. So I think he's going to have a very interesting view of, first of all, 2 things. A, what's happening here in with this Andrew thing, being involved in 2 presidential administrations and being involved with the International Global Affairs Council, but also a lot of things that are happening between with the peace talks that have stopped between Russia and Ukraine in Geneva, and the attack coming any day on Iran. So besides the Epstein stuff, don't forget, we're literally any day you're going to wake up and you're going to hear we are attacking Iran. I think from what I'm hearing from sources, it's basically he's waiting for the Olympics to end because of the press coverage. Rubio is heading to Israel. The conversations are starting and the planning is.
Folks, I got to run. Sorry about this, but I got to deal with something important. Sorry, I was going to.
Yeah, go ahead.
About that. Cheers.
See you, buddy.
Bye.
Take care. Yeah, so definitely a lot of stuff happening today that we're gonna be looking into. So it's just a crazy day. And the other thing I just wanted to let everybody know, I am ending my relationship with I didn't even know that with Amazon. We're gonna be stopped selling our books on Amazon. Fuck Jeff Bezos and Amazon. So we're gonna do it. So there's only a few. I have we just got a few boxes in of Shadow Diplomacy.
Yeah.
It really outlines everything is playing right now. Once these boxes are gone, I'm looking for somebody else to print them for me,
Mhm.
and we will get them, but there will be a delay. So I just want to let everybody know that if you haven't yet, go Love Remembers, grab your copy. I promise you, it will connect a lot of dots and a lot of names that still have not come out in the Epstein files, not because of stuff that they might have been done, but because of the financial international crime wave that we're uncovering that has to do with Russia, Israel, UK, in United States, obviously, and South America, Venezuela, and others. We're connecting all the dots, folks. So
Yeah. Listen, if you want to know what's going on now, go and get Shadow Diplomacy when Lev tells you where you can go and buy it, even if you can get on Amazon. I'm glad you ended your relationship with him because it lays out exactly what's going on. And I'm fortunate enough to have read that book, and that book is literally like you're 1.0. I say this all the time, the chief sausage maker in the MAGA sausage factory. Like, he knows where these things are, who's in charge, why they do this, what shadow diplomacy is, the purposes of Witkoff, who's the new Lev Parnas, and how to fuck over the United States through shadow diplomacy. Literally, the game plan is in that book. So please go and get it wherever you get a chance to. Please subscribe to my very dear friend, Mr. Lev Parnas. Lev Remembers is where you can find him, right here on Substack. Hit that Chiron at the top. Give him a follow. Paid subs always get this stuff to the top of the algorithm. More people will get a chance to see this and read this. I've got 30% off annual subscriptions right now, so head over to deanblundell.substack.com. If you have time and a couple of bucks left over after you buy Shadow Diplomacy and you sign up to follow my friend Mr. Lev Parnas and Mr. Zev Shalev at narrative.org, who was great
and
today.
Dean Blundell. And
Yeah,
Dean
sure.
Blundell.
Yeah, go there too.
Yeah, and I can tell you guys, I promise you, next week's a big week. We got some major announcements coming, some big news coming. We got some stuff so stay tuned, keep alert, stay watching, and I promise you, we're gonna take our democracy back. We're not gonna allow them to continue doing what they're doing. We have some things up our sleeves. Actually, today I have no sleeves, but I'm leaving that shirt specially for next week so I can bring a lot of things up my sleeves when I go to Washington D.C. As I told you, this year is all about action. No more talking, folks.
You got
We're going back to DC. I see you guys. Take
All
care.
right, pal.
Dean.
We'll talk
Thanks,
to you
brother.
soon, brother. I'll talk to you soon. There you go, everybody. Have a great day. Thanks for spending some time with us. Don't forget to subscribe. And don't forget to follow. And don't forget to be good to each other today. That's why we're all here, right? You know what I'm saying? We can talk about the real. We can talk about the disgustingness. We can talk about the perversion. We can talk about what needs to be done. But you need to keep your heads above water. All of you. I see it all the time, and I see it in the chat. And this is just from your friend Dean. Take care of yourself today. Just take care of yourself today. Take your head out of the content for a bit. Go do something with your family, your kids. Maybe make yourself a bundt cake. That's what I did the other day. Made a split pea and ham soup. Just took my mind off everything. And by the way, it was goddamn delicious. I would share it. I would share my recipe, but it's secret. Can't. It's an old family secret recipe for split pea and ham soup. Canadian, by the way. Peasant food. That's how we do it. Can't underscore the importance of today's conversation. Cannot underscore the importance of the British government doing something and the cascading effect this is going to have. We're going to see an announcement from Canada coming up. We've now got 16 different national investigations in 16 different countries into Jeffrey Epstein, his perversion in those countries, the trafficking of young girls and women from those countries. And now we have a prince that's gone down. If we can get a prince, we can get a fucking president. Have a great day, everybody. See you at 3:00, maybe, for the 5 stack. Bye, all.